Thank you very much.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Former President Donald Trump, seen here definitely not sleeping. He's probably just praying. Former President Trump, for the first time in his trial, wrote a message on a yellow Post-it note and handed it to his lawyer while he was making an argument. The Post-it read simply, "Can't pay you."
Nikki Haley has launched a series of campaign ads targeting both Donald Trump and Joe Biden called Grumpy Old Men. Okay, but at least they're men. Chicago became the largest U.S. city to call for a ceasefire in Gaza, and in return, Gaza called for a ceasefire in Chicago.
Even world leaders who could be making it better are making it worse. For example, former President Trump went out of his way to praise the terrorist group Hezbollah, calling them, quote, very smart. Though, in Trump's defense, he thinks Hezbollah is the genie from Aladdin. Haley also called Trump totally unhinged and called for him to take a mental competency test. And here's some footage of Trump trying to buzz in with his answers.
Ding, 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 ding. Ping, boom.
See, he's fine. Hasn't lost a step. Trump did have a slight stumble this week while talking about banks, and he introduced an interesting new term called debank.
Nikki Haley received an endorsement from New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, which would be helpful if anyone knew who that was. A new report shows that for the first time, the majority of billionaires last year received their fortunes through family inheritance. And not to brag, but I inherited my family's learning disabilities.
We're also going to place strong protections to stop banks and regulators from trying to debank you. They want to debank you, and we're going to debank.
I don't know what the hell debank means, but he might have to take de-ambulance to see the doctor. New Jersey Senator and most successful member of the Lollipop Guild, Bob Menendez, was indicted on new charges accusing him of accepting bribes from Egypt. Menendez denied the allegations, calling them as over the top as my new bejeweled scarab.
This week, Donald Trump said that he supports abortion laws being decided by the states instead of the federal government. But why stop there? Why not go even smaller and leave it up to the counties or the city? Or even better, take the government out of it completely and leave it the choice about what women can do with their bodies to the person who knows what they could do with them the best, their husbands.
Republicans on Friday nominated Jim Jordan to be the next House Speaker. Jordan is best known for denying the 2020 election results, looking the other way on an Ohio State sexual abuse scandal, and for his role as Anger in Inside Out.
More than 5,000 people attended a Democratic fundraiser at Radio City Music Hall featuring big-name celebrities like Barack Obama, Stephen Colbert, and Lizzo, as well as lesser-known celebrities like President Joe Biden.
Donald Trump posted an image of Nikki Haley made up to look like Hillary Clinton. And honestly, I couldn't tell if it was bad Photoshop or a good picture of Mark Cuban in a wig. Pope Francis called for a ban on surrogate motherhood, which he says violates the dignity of the woman and the child. Plus, the Catholic Church doesn't want extra kids around while they're trying to quit.
Playboy has cut ties with porn star Mia Khalifa after she expressed support for Hamas. See, Lord, I was Googling her for work. In a new interview, Jada Pinkett Smith reveals that she and husband Will Smith have actually been separated since 2016. Ironically, after he suggested that she should star in G.I. Jane 2.
Senator Mitch McConnell, seen here watching someone get injured at the Special Olympics, said that he is not concerned with threats Donald Trump makes at his rallies to remove him as Senate Minority Leader. In fact, McConnell says the threats make him laugh harder than his favorite comedy show, Dahmer.
Ron Ronna McDaniel was reelected as chair of the Republican National Committee in a closer than expected vote over challengers Harmet Dillon, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, Twitter user CatTurd2, Kevin Sorbo, Kyle Rittenhouse, and of course, Colin Jost. I'm just telling you what happened.
Yeah. A public library in Alabama has flagged a children's picture book as potentially sexually explicit just because the author's last name is gay. Though, to be fair, the book is titled Gay's Porn for Kids. Senator Mitch McConnell, seen here being told a black woman made a country album, has come out in favor of a bill that would potentially ban TikTok in the U.S. Of course, for McConnell, TikTok is just what the Grim Reaper says while tapping his watch. Former president and current reverse mortgage applicant Donald Trump criticized Biden's speech, saying the words are not flowing smoothly out of his mouth. Well, we can't all speak with the same effortless grace as Donald J. Trump.
Just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Oh, it sounds like someone just inserted a colonoscopy camera.
The FAA revealed that Donald Trump's Boeing 757 clipped a parked plane when it landed in Florida. But the good news is Donald Trump flies around in a Boeing, so...
This trial must have driven Trump crazy. The judge kept telling him to shut up. The jury made him pay triple what the victim asked for. Even the courtroom sketch artist made him look made him look like that lady who got her face ripped off by a monkey. The only way this could have gone worse for Trump is if they took away his businesses, which is, of course, what happens in next week's trial. Senator Rick Scott, seen here learning that Harry Potter has fallen into his trap, announced that he is running for re-election, promising to finish the border wall and name it after Donald Trump, even though most things named after Donald Trump are complete failures.
That was my best joke, Colin.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said next week she will force a vote to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson. And if there's one thing I bet she's amazing at, it's driving men away. There was actually an error in the LA Times obituary for O.J. Simpson. In the section about his prison time, instead of writing O.J. walked out of the Lovelock Correctional Center, they wrote Trump walked out of the Lovelock Correctional Center, a free man for the first time in 9 years. And it's not a great sign for Trump that even autocorrect thinks he belongs in jail.
President Biden said Friday that he would visit the site of the Baltimore bridge collapse because, like that bridge, Biden is no longer connecting with black communities.
After being found liable for defamation against 2 Georgia election workers, Rudy Giuliani was ordered yesterday to pay the hilarious sum of $148 million. You might as well just make it $1 billion. Because there's no way he can pay it. At this point, they only call Giuliani the mayor of 9/11 because that's all that's left in his bank account.
Stormy Daniels testified that during their encounter, Donald Trump did not wear a condom. He tried to put one on, but he was blocked by his tie. Stormy Daniels testified in Donald Trump's hush money trial and was asked to list some of the movies that she's worked on. After she finished, the judge banged the gavel and open oral arguments were the names of the movies. Oh man, that was a good joke. Donald Trump said that at the debates, he wants both of them to stand instead of sit. So that's the status of our presidency. Standing is a feat of strength. I think we can learn a lot more watching them both try to get out of a beanbag chair.
Giuliani, amazingly seen here in better times, said during the trial that it was an accident that he attacked the plaintiffs repeatedly on social media, with the judge noting, there's a lot of accidents going on. Said Giuliani, oh, you could smell that? Former President Donald Trump, seen here definitely not sleeping. He's probably just praying. Former President Trump, for the first time in his trial, wrote a message on a yellow Post-it note and handed it to his lawyer while he was making an argument. The Post-it read simply, "Can't pay you." Michael Cohen, whose cologne I can smell through this picture, testified against Donald Trump this week. Cohen was portrayed by Trump's attorneys as someone who hated Donald Trump and was trying to get revenge. But the only evidence of that comes from Cohen's upcoming book, I Hate Donald Trump, but I'm Trying to Get Revenge.
Israeli officials are reportedly furious after the U.S. withheld a shipment of weapons. But yes, sometimes people get angry at their intervention. All right, President Biden on Tuesday issued a call to fight hate against anti-Semitism, saying there is no place for it in America. But on the other hand, Collins Country Club.
Representative Matt Gaetz referenced the Proud Boys by tweeting a picture of himself outside Trump's courtroom with the caption, "Standing back and standing by." Gaetz used that same caption in a picture of himself outside a quinceañera.
More than 5,000 people attended a Democratic fundraiser at Radio City Music Hall featuring big-name celebrities like Barack Obama, Stephen Colbert, and Lizzo, as well as lesser-known celebrities like President Joe Biden.
This week, Baltimore
Flurry, which they say tastes like grandma's favorite treats that she hid in her purse. It's a combination of butterscotch, crunchy candy pieces, and a big black vibrator. No.
A dog was rescued after it fell off a 50-foot cliff into a quarry. Next time, said Kristi Noem.
A worker on a cruise ship heading to Alaska was arrested for attacking 3 passengers with scissors. He was eventually subdued by a passenger with rock.
Disney World is closing Splash Mountain to turn it into Tiana's Bayou Adventure after complaints that its Song of the South theme was racist. Okay, but where's the outrage about Disney forcing a mentally challenged dwarf to mine blood diamonds?
An upcoming TV special starring actor James Vanderbeek will attempt to raise awareness about prostate cancer testing. It's called Dawson's Crack.
A United Airlines flight from Germany was forced to return to the airport after the toilet broke and leaked into the cabin. Though it's the perfect punishment for people who take their shoes off on planes. Primate expert Jane Goodall celebrated her 90th birthday by gathering together with 90 dogs, then feeding them all to her apes. Pro-Palestinian protesters walked out of Jerry Seinfeld's commencement address at Duke University, and I think that's disgraceful. During these difficult times, it's important to support our Jewish friends. That's why the only chant you'll hear from me is "Free Weinstein."
A doctor from Singapore has gone viral with a video telling people that they can get relief from constipation by sitting on the toilet cross-legged. So that's what they mean when they say crisscross applesauce. I get it now.
Oh, no.
Pope Francis said this week that sexual pleasure is a gift from God. Unfortunately, it was in response to the question, should the church still have altar boys? During a campaign event marking the start of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, President Biden criticized Japan as being xenophobic, which is crazy because why would the Japanese be scared of foreigners? Oh my God, Drake just dropped another diss record, guys. I'm just kidding. I just say that when I bomb. Speaking of kids, new data shows that middle school students have only made up a third of the math skills they lost during the pandemic. Their math was so bad they didn't get it when I texted them, "You plus me equals 69." Okay.
Hey, you put it in text.
A man in Missouri is planning to turn an abandoned jail into an Airbnb rental, which will make it the first jail that refuses to accept black people. It was announced that Puerto Rico's only zoo is closing after years of alleged animal neglect. Worse, the zoo is closing is being advertised as all you can eat. Multiple women have posted videos on TikTok claiming that while walking the streets of New York, they were randomly punched by men. Well then, damn, get the hell out of my way, bitch. And speaking of bitches, I want to call out the biggest bitch of all, Kendrick Lamar.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Well, guys, it's 2024, but is it? I don't know about you, but when I think of the year 2020, I never think we should run that one back.
Yesterday, President Biden released a new video with Barack Obama in which they remind people that Obamacare is still available, but according to polls, people really want to know if Obama is still available. Melania Trump made a rare public appearance when she attended the funeral of former First Lady Rosalind Carter, who died at the age of 96. Melania said that she was deeply saddened to be reminded that your partner can live that long.
And if you're feeling confused, you're not the only one. At a rally on Thursday, President Biden said he was mixed up when he claimed he had just taken a photo with a woman who wasn't even there. Then the next day, Donald Trump repeatedly confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi. Guys, I don't know if we should do this election. It's honestly starting to feel like elder abuse.
If convicted, Hunter Biden could be sentenced to up to 17 years in prison, which would be the first time any Biden has successfully completed a sentence. House Speaker Mike Johnson said that he is blurring the faces on the footage of January 6 rioters so that none of them would be charged with a crime. So unfortunately, we'll never know who they are.
I don't even blame them. I blame us for allowing it. It reminds me of those bum fight videos where they made two homeless guys fight for money. And now we look back on it and we're like, how did we as a society let that happen? So I think the best solution is we should just tell Trump and Biden that they both won. And that we're very proud of them. And that they can rest now.
Nikki Haley received an endorsement from New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, which would be helpful if anyone knew who that was. A new report shows that for the first time, the majority of billionaires last year received their fortunes through family inheritance. And not to brag, but I inherited my family's learning disabilities. In Monday's Iowa caucuses, Ron DeSantis beat out Nikki Haley for second place. Well, that ought to put whatever this is on his face. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who looks like someone drew Ving Rhames with their eyes closed, endorsed Donald Trump. But remember, most Trump supporters only count him as 3/5 of an endorsement. Oh, boy.
During an interview, Elon Musk, who looked like the ghost of a guy who died in a 1950s drag race, was asked if he was anti-Semitic and said that he was in fact philo-Semitic. You know, another answer would be no. Donald Trump urged his supporters to brave the sub-zero temperatures in Iowa to vote for him, saying, even if you vote and then pass away, it's worth it. Voting for Trump and then passing away is also what happened with COVID.
Insiders are concerned that President Biden's chances for re-election could be damaged by his unwavering support for Israel. But I think the bigger problem for Biden is that he is 6 years older than Israel.
A public library in Alabama has flagged a children's picture book as potentially sexually explicit just because the author's last name is gay. Though, to be fair, the book is titled Gays Porn for Kids.
John Kerry announced that he is stepping down as the U.S. climate envoy and is expected to focus on President Biden's re-election campaign. And it's not a great sign that Biden's campaign is a bigger emergency than climate change. In an interview on Fox News, presidential candidate Nikki Haley said that America has, quote, never been a racist country. Because if Americans were so racist, why did they have sex with their slaves?
New York Mayor Eric Adams responded to allegations that he accepted illegal donations from Turkey, saying, "I have not been accused of wrongdoing, and I will continue to cooperate." Then he put on his fez and sped away on a flying carpet.
It was reported that the organizers of King Charles's coronation have officially invited Meghan Markle, and this is nice, at a starting salary of $19 an hour. It's very generous, guys.
Yeah. Donald Trump posted an image of Nikki Haley made up to look like Hillary Clinton. And honestly, I couldn't tell if it was bad Photoshop or a good picture of Mark Cuban in a wig. Pope Francis called for a ban on surrogate motherhood, which he says violates the dignity of the woman and the child. Plus, the Catholic Church doesn't want extra kids around while they're trying to quit.
The Supreme Court is addressing recent allegations of ethical lapses by adopting a new code of conduct, replacing their old code of conduct, money up front, no kissing on the mouth. Senator Tim Scott announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. With Scott gone, the most prominent black Republican is once again the Blacks for Trump guy. All right, whatever.
A new report finds that the average 50-year-old in America is worth over $1 million, while the average 30-year-old is worth more dead than alive.
Elton John won an Emmy for his farewell concert special, earning him a coveted EGOT, which is an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Several major media companies, including NBC Universal, have pulled their advertising from Elon Musk's X over concerns that ads for their shows could appear next to pro-Nazi propaganda, which is a huge relief because I was definitely worried about where this was going to end up.
A new startup company is developing a male contraceptive that involves one injection that will prevent pregnancy for 10 years. So get ready for an exciting future of taking the man's word for it. He like that, good joke.
After new polls show Donald Trump leading Joe Biden, Democratic strategists are calling Biden's re-election campaign a five-alarm fire, which is scary for Biden because in a fire, you have to use the stairs. A Volvo crashed through the front of a Whole Foods in a Maryland suburb. It was an accident so white that everyone's insurance went down. A passenger on Spirit Airlines was arrested after he repeatedly asked female flight attendants to join the Mile High Club, even though Spirit's airplanes can't get above 300 feet.
A new app has been introduced called Wrapped that claims it can show Instagram users who is looking at their pictures. Uh-oh, said a bunch of high school teachers.
A new study is being conducted to explain why redheads seem to experience pain differently. Because they're all witches?
Tesla owners are complaining that during the sub-zero temperatures that swept through the country, they couldn't get their cars to charge. But on the plus side, they were able to stay warm in the battery fires. A man on a plane in India who was trapped in the bathroom for the whole flight says the crew slipped him a piece of paper reading "Do not panic." Then he slipped them a piece of paper back reading "More paper, please." An Indiana woman was arrested after she drove her car into a building because she thought it was a, quote, Israel school. Well, that's why they don't let women drive in the Middle East. You don't like it, or?
A new study suggests that men are better than women at using a map, while women are better at sitting silently for the rest of the car ride after you tell them that.
It was reported the inmate who attacked Derek Chauvin, the police officer who killed George Floyd, stabbed Chauvin 22 times, but Chauvin still wouldn't stop choking him. All right. New Jersey police recaptured an escaped pig named Albert Einstein. They call him Albert Einstein because compared to people in New Jersey, pigs are geniuses.
Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed after it was struck by a cargo ship that was carrying, you won't believe it, Boeing airplanes. President Biden announced that he's raising tariffs on Chinese electric cars to 100%. Unfortunately, Chinese electric cars is just what Biden calls Mario Kart.
Iowa's Final Four game against UConn was the most watched women's college basketball game ever, with 14.2 million viewers, beating the previous record by 14.2 million viewers.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said next week she will force a vote to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson. And if there's one thing I bet she's amazing at, it's driving men away.
A growing number of black men feel like the Trump and Biden campaigns are not actually trying to forge true relationships and just want their votes. Yeah. During a new interview with ABC News, Steve Bannon called himself the voice of MAGA and also the face of gout. Donald Trump said at a rally that he would make November 5th Christian Visibility Day. Wait, I thought that was called Ash Wednesday. The Florida Supreme Court has allowed the state's 6-week abortion ban to take effect. So now Florida's only remaining method for ending a pregnancy is roller coasters.
People in Paris with disabilities are saying that the city has not fulfilled its promise to make it universally accessible before this summer's Olympics. And officials admit they're having some safety issues with the new Eiffel Tower wheelchair ramp.
During a ceremony in Russia, Vladimir Putin was sworn in for his 5th term as president by placing his hand on the Russian Constitution, which is just the label on a bottle of vodka. President Biden said that the National Guard should not be called in to deal with campus protests, but I'm just happy that he's finally not sending military aid somewhere. The FAA revealed that Donald Trump's Boeing 757 clipped a parked plane when it landed in Florida. But the good news is Donald Trump flies around in a Boeing, so...
It was announced that actor Andy Serkis will star in and direct a new Lord of the Rings movie focusing on Gollum, and unfortunately, his Challenger-style relationship with Frodo and Sam. This year's most popular baby names for boys were Liam and Noah. Great, another generation of pussies.
King Charles's official portrait is being criticized for depicting him on a harsh red background, but in the royal family, that's better than having a black background. I thought they'd like that, Colin.
It was also reported Friday that the U.S. economy added over 300,000 jobs. Unfortunately, most of them are bridge fixer.
Experts are saying that 2 different broods of cicadas will hatch this month, releasing trillions of cicadas into the U.S. And Biden is just letting them in.
Better you than me. A high-end fashion brand is selling a pair of jeans for $800, which appear to have a pee stain on the front. Jeans with a pee stain on the front? Please, I can make those in my sleep.
Online Fashion critics said the dress Kim Kardashian wore to the Met Gala had such a tight waist that it seemed like it was crushing her organs. But I already watched her organs get crushed by Ray J.
I don't think that's going to make the show.
I think it did. I think someone screamed.
McDonald's is releasing a new Grandma Mix.
দুটা বেগুনে দুটা পেঁয়াজ দুটা মুড়ি তার আগে কোন আপনি কি দিয়া কানের পর্দা হালি বেরে কই গেছে আমি কইছি
কেমন দোকানে আইলাম এই আপনার দুইটা মুড়ি কথা বলি নাই এক পা মুড়ি কথা বলছি দুইটা মুড়ি তাই কেন এলাম
আরে না এক পা
আপনার এখানে কি বাংলা পাত্র নাই তা আপনারা নিয়ে যাবো আরে মুড়ি লো এক পা তা মুড়ি নিলে তো আপনারা নিতে হইব আমার নালে মনে রোজ একটা কষ্ট দিন না আমি আমার কফি
খালি মারে আমারে
আমি আপনার দোকান থেকে সদাই নিমু না সারাদিন রোজা থাইকা এই বেরোজগারির দোকান থেকে মুড়ি আর ইফতার নিলে আমার রোজাটাও হারাম হয়ে যাবে ভাই আসি তাহলে আরে ছাড়েন
আপা আমি রোজা আছি 45টা
তুই রোজা রাখছো এই বড়া আমি জানা তিনটা কাস্টমার আছে তুই আবার দেখছ না আল্লাহ কি জানা কি এই বড়া তোর আমি মারতাছি তুই আবার তারপর তোর মোহের ভিতরে আরেকটা হামদাই দিছস তার এক হামদা না চোখ না এডি কি বেগুনি